This 16 millimeter 2.8 is currently going for under $300. And honestly, it might just be one of my favorite lenses. All right, so first impressions with this lens is that you'll notice that it's all plastic, very high quality plastic, and also that it doesn't have the weather sealing that you're going to get in a lot of the L series lenses. But the control ring feels good. The one thing I'll say I don't like about the build is just how small the lens is on this. So, I mean, of course, you're not going to get as good of details as you would in, say, the 15-35. But for me personally, this lens will probably do the job just great. So here's the thing. Originally, I had my eye on the 15-35. However, I saw this pop up for only a tenth of the price. And honestly, at that point, you honestly can't go wrong with getting this as a trial lens just to see if you use it enough or whatnot. And I'm glad. And honestly, I'm glad I did because I hardly use this. And I don't think much people will be using a 16 millimeter all too frequently. Because the thing is, it doesn't have a whole lot of use cases. I mean, besides like landscape and real estate and whatnot, those are probably the main things that someone would use a lens for. And for those instances, I'd probably just upgrade to a 15-35 if you're getting paid for it. But for someone who doesn't do a whole lot of wide angle photography and whatnot, like ultra wide, this honestly does job just fine. I've had this for about 6 months now, and I've maybe used it a handful of times. I mean, the image quality in it, it's real. So looking at the image quality on this, it's honestly not the greatest. You get what you pay for. But for $300, I was honestly surprised at how good the quality was. I was expecting when I got this more of like the old 75-300 quality because it's so low. I mean, it's a little bit more than a 50 millimeter, and that's one of my favorite lenses too. But it does have some negatives and whatnot. As far as image quality optically, the main things you'll notice is that the edges of the photos will be significantly sharper than the center. And also, when you're shooting wide open at 2.8, you'll notice a lot of vignetting around the corners, and the corners will almost start to look a little black. But as long as you shoot like at higher apertures and whatnot, you probably won't notice a difference. And for most cases you would use this for, you honestly wouldn't shoot wide open. Like landscapes, you're shooting around like f8 or whatnot. I would assume the same for real estate just because, you just want to show the big rooms and whatnot. And besides macro photography, I honestly don't know what else you'd use this for. I mean, maybe you could let me know. But just because it's such like a niche lens and whatnot, I think most people would be perfectly happy with this. Onto focus performance, it is an STM lens, so you're not getting the USM internal focusing. It does have a stepping focus, so you'll actually see the focus barrel pop out and just go in and out when you're focusing. So in most cases, as the theme of this video is kind of going, it's going to do just fine. I mean, for landscape photography and whatnot, it's still going to focus right away. It's not going to hunt in and out forever. It's still going to lock. But the only thing I wouldn't probably recommend this for is like fast moving subjects and whatnot. But that's honestly kind of a given anyways. So let's get into the pros and cons. First off, it's very lightweight and portable. I mean, this thing hardly weighs anything. If you weren't careful, you could honestly probably just lose it in your bag and forget you had it. The next pro is that the apertures on this optically will give you good sun stars and flares. And the last pro, of course, for the price, you can't beat it. I think it was under $300. Here, let's just look. Give it a double check. Yeah, so right here, it's going for $279 right now. I don't know if you can see that. I'll pop it up right here, but on Amazon. But so onto the cons. The distortion on this lens is atrocious. I mean, it's like what you would expect from a GoPro, but as long as you do lens corrections in Lightroom, it's going to go away. It's not a big deal, but just out of the camera, the distortion is really bad. So the next con, and this is kind of a big one, the edges are significantly less sharp than the center of the image. However, if you're shooting at a wide aperture, you're probably not going to notice the difference anyways. And the last con is just no weather sealing. So if you're out in the rain and whatnot, I probably wouldn't recommend taking this lens. But besides that, I mean, just for casual use and whatnot, I mean, this one's, I'd say, a way better value than what you're going to get with a 15-35. Like I said, unless you're getting paid or that you're just going to use an ultra wide angle very frequently, I honestly think you're better off getting this lens than a 15-35. Sure, the 15-35 is a powerhouse of a lens. and you're probably going to upgrade to it anyways. I know I'm still looking at it. However, there's still just so many other things you can buy and be more happier with than upgrading to a 15. So at the end of the game, I would give this lens a 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's not the perfect lens, but for most cases, it will get the job done. But it's honestly not a huge difference from my 24 to 105 right now. I mean, besides the edges being like less sharp, it's not a dramatic difference that I say. Optically wise, it's honestly not much difference than what you're going to get from the 50 1.8, maybe a little bit worse. Also, I don't really notice a huge difference in this to my 24 to 105. I mean, there's a noticeable difference, but it's not like a huge difference. Like if you're making prints and whatnot, you're going to notice, but like just posting on social media and whatnot, like you're never going to see the difference just because how badly things get compressed. So just to wrap this all up, for the value, you honestly can't beat it. It's a great lens. Personally, this sits right behind the 50 millimeter 1.8 to me. It's in that category that I'll use it once in a great while, but it's not something frequent enough that I would invest a lot into a more professional lens. Me personally, I got this lens just for really tight spaces like shooting cars and shooting landscapes and whatnot. In certain tight areas, I would have the 24 105 just wide open, and I would just do panoramas and stitch them together. And for that stuff, this lens is perfect. And for that stuff, I mean, this is just fine. I probably will upgrade, like I said, to the 15 to 35. However, in the meantime, I think this lens is great. I haven't regretted getting this. It's still plenty of lens for most people. And honestly, in most cases, I don't think you're going to regret it over the 15 to 35. Sure, it has its differences and it doesn't stack up perfectly. However, just for most cases, I mean, it's a decent lens. It's average, but it's just in such a niche spot that most people aren't going to have a whole lot of uses for it. So if you found this helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe. And let me know also what kind of videos y'all would want to see me do in the future.